So for this question, it says, Ali cuts two triangles from a rectangular piece of metal along the dash line to make earrings. How can Ali show that the earrings are the same size and shape? So for this, what we want to do is if we split this into two triangles, right? I do one triangle like this. All right, we're going to call this A, B, D, and the other one right here. Okay. And this one is going to be B, C, D. Now, based off of what we know about triangles, the widths are the same length, so those are going to be congruent. The lengths are the same length as well, so those are going to be congruent. And all the corners of a rectangle are 90 degrees. So angle A is going to be congruent to angle C. So because of that, we can show that these are congruent by side, angle, side. All right, so on this next one, it says given that AB is parallel to CD, and AB is congruent to CD. How can you show that that angle B is congruent to angle D? How can we show that this angle right here is congruent to this angle? Okay, so first off, what we need to do is we need to show that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA. So we need to show that those two triangles are congruent. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just draw out both triangles. Okay, so we have D, A, C, and then up top, we're going to have A, B, C. So the information that we already have is we know that DC is congruent to AB. Now, if you notice, AC, they share this side. So AC, that's going to be congruent as well. All right. So now what we're going to use, I just deleted all that, didn't I? Right here. So we know this is congruent and those are congruent. Okay, and we're trying to show that B is congruent to D. All right, now we're going to use some information that we already know. Considering that these are parallel and this is our transversal, we know that this angle and this angle, those are alternate interior. Okay, so we can say that this angle right here is congruent, and so now we have side, angle, side. So we can say that the entire triangle is congruent by side, angle, side. Okay, so now because of that, angle B is congruent to angle D. Right, so these angles are congruent by the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. All right, let's take a look at our next example. All right, so this one says to find the value of x. Okay, so what I want to point out first is how can we find the value of x if we don't know any of the other triangles? Well, what we do know is that these two triangles are congruent by side, side, side. All right, all three sides have a corresponding congruent part. Okay, so this angle right here is in between the angles, the sides that are marked. All right, so like these two angles are in between the sides that are marked 1 and 2. So they have to be congruent. So therefore we can say x has to equal 92. All right, so we can use that side congruency to find those missing parts. All right, so now we've got 4 examples in this next one, and we're going to look to see which ones that we can determine are congruent. All right, so here we've got 3 sides, and we've got their corresponding parts. So we can say these are congruent by side, side, side. All right, here we've got side, we've got a side, and we've got an angle. But notice the angle is not in between. Okay, it's not in between the sides. So in order to say side, angle, side, it has to be in between there. Okay, and we only know 2 sides. So this one is not enough info. All right, we don't have enough info. All right, let's look at this next one. So this next one, we've got a side, we've got an angle, and then a side. Now notice the angle is in between the sides. So this one we can say side, angle, side. All right, same thing down here. We have a side, we have an angle, we have a side. So this one we can say that they are congruent by side, angle, side. All right, guys, and that's all we got for today.